How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have two big pieces of news that we have to cover. For one, Sleepy has been traded from the San Francisco Shock to the Washington Justice, but then the other big time story we have to talk about here is the reason behind Daco's benching. It was finally revealed. But first I want to start off with the Sleepy trade because this is pretty massive. Before I give my thoughts on this trade, I quickly just wanted to read out the Twitter post made by the San Francisco Shock regarding Sleepy. So here's what they had to say. It's always tough saying goodbye to a family member, but ultimately we knew that Sleepy deserves a spot on the Overwatch League stage. Thank you for everything you have brought to our team, and good luck with the Washington Justice. That was very kind of the Shock to say about Sleepy, and honestly, I'm really sad about this. Obviously, I'm happy for Sleepy because now he has an opportunity to play again because he was kind of just rotting on the bench on the Shock. Violet was clearly the better player, and he probably wasn't going to get playtime anytime soon. So it's good to see that he gets a fresh start, and now he's going to be starting again. I'm not going to lie, though. It's going to take a long time for me to adjust to Sleepy being on a new team. Like, seriously, him not wearing the San Francisco Shock uniform is going to be so weird. It's kind of like with Note leaving the Uprising and going to the Fuel. It's the same exact thing. I really like this trade a lot. It makes sense for both sides. So looking at this from the Shock's point of view, this trade makes sense because you really weren't utilizing Sleepy at all. He was kind of just rotting at the bench at this point because, like I mentioned, you have Violet now. He's a superstar Zenyatta player, so what's the point of having Sleepy if you know you're never going to play him? And plus, you can get some money out of it. You know there are some other teams in the league that would benefit from having a better flex support, so you might as well trade him to a team that needs him and get some cash in return. Now we of course have to talk about this from Washington's point of view, and oh man, I am in love with this trade. This was a great move to make. It was pretty clear that their flex support position was kind of lacking. I don't hate Guido or anything, no disrespect to the guy, but he's a pretty mediocre flex support player, and I think Sleepy's a great upgrade. Good for the Washington Justice. I'm actually really proud of these guys. They were able to make two big roster additions in just this one stage alone. Like seriously, the management is killing it right now, and I like the strategy they're using too. I'm a big fan of the idea of just going up to some of these teams that really don't need specific players who are still pretty talented but are basically just rotting on the bench and trading for them. Just throw some money at them and say, hey, give me Arc, give me Sleepy. We know you're not using them and you probably won't use them again, so why not give them to us? We'll give you a boatload of cash. I really like the direction this Washington team is going in right now. Coming into stage 1, they had a pretty mediocre support line, and now before stage 2 is even over, it's no longer a concern. They upgraded it to the point where it's really strong. I feel like this team is just a couple of pieces away from being a solid team that can be pretty competitive against most teams in the league. I don't think they're ready right now, just because I don't think Arc and Sleepy is enough, but if they maybe get like another good DPS player, maybe they upgrade the tank line a little bit more, I think they'll be really good. There's just two more things I quickly wanted to talk about before we move on to the next topic of the video. One is that I'm really happy for Sleepy. Like seriously, he's one of my favorite players in the league, so to see him get another opportunity to be a starter just makes me so happy. I'm really glad that this guy's getting another chance. He deserves it. He's a really solid flex support player. He was just kind of unlucky because Violet is just an absolute god. I am super pumped to see Sleepy play in the Justice. I know he's going to do great. His Ana and his Zenyatta are absolutely nutty, and I think he very well could be the superstar of this squad. Now let me just quickly read out the Washington Justice welcome post that they made regarding Sleepy. So, here's what they had to say. We are excited to have Sleepy stand with Justice. We can't wait to see him in action. If any of you are curious about what Sleepy had to say about all of this, well, as of me recording this video, he had nothing to say on his Twitter or any of his other social medias, I believe, so you're going to have to stay tuned and look out for that. Maybe go on a stream or something. I'm sure he'll shed some light there. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this Sleepy trade. So now let's move on to the second part of this video, which has to do with the Atlanta Reign benching Daco, because they finally shed some light as to why this happened. So on Twitter, a man who goes by the name of Aaron Halo Brown decided to share this little article that he made regarding Daco being benched for FRD, otherwise known as Fried. I thought it would be interesting to share this article with you guys, so I'm going to read it out, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. So anyway, here we go. And I quote, the Atlanta Reign allegedly benched their starting off tank Daco for the first 2 weeks of stage 2 after the team had reached their limit with his behavior. Daco, who was signed to an Overwatch League contract by the Atlanta Reign in the offseason from Korean contenders team Element Mystic, has consistently disrupted the Reign's weekly preparations with his behavior both in scrims and in organized team activities from the beginning of the season, sources have told Halo of Thoughts. Daco's behavior started to become prominent soon after he joined the Reign. It started when he told Atlanta's coaches that he wasn't happy with the team's starting flex support, Steven Kodak Rosenberg, and that he felt that there were better options available to the team. While initially standing firm against Daco's claims regarding the roster, sources claim that the Reign attempted to address Daco's fears by promoting Atlanta Academy flex support Dustin Dogman Bowerman, as first tweeted by Dave Bench Sassoni. As stage 1 continued through the weeks, Daco's attitude became more prevalent, with sources stating that he would often feed and throw in scrims when the Reign were losing or not performing the way he wanted. This would sometimes transfer into Overwatch League games when the Reign were behind, and multiple sources told how opposing teams could hear Daco speaking in Korean, blaming and insulting the Western players on the Reign as they were walking off the stage after defeats. While Atlanta's coaching staff tried their best to accommodate for Daco's attitude, attitude, they reached their breaking point when Daco's temper allegedly got the better of him after the Stage 1 playoff loss to the Philadelphia Fusion, when his comments went a step too far due to him believing it was a game they should have won. Atlanta then decided that as punishment for his actions, he would be benched for the first 2 weeks of Stage 2. While the Atlanta Reign declined to comment on the current situation regarding Daco, they have stated that with the first 2 weeks of Stage 2 now completed, Daco will return to the starting lineup tonight against the New York Excelsior. And that's what the article had to say about this whole Daco situation. So what do you guys think of this? I found this to be very interesting. If this is 100% true, then this would make sense as to why Daco wasn't playing during the first 2 stages. It seems that Daco is just a really bad person, that he's super toxic both inside and outside of the game. Like, he's yelling at his teammates, he's throwing during scrims, and even on stage. Like, that's pretty messed up. No wonder they decided to bench him. That's horrible and very immature. I'm super disappointed in Daco. He was becoming one of my favorite players on the Reign, but I'm not so sure how I feel about him anymore if all of this is actually true. But as always, there are 2 different sides to every single story, and while I do think that this story is most likely true, you never know. Daco might be able to shed some light on this as well. Like, perhaps the Atlanta Reign aren't treating him right. I kind of doubt it because it's very clear that all of this evidence is stacking up against him, but still, there could be some things that we're not being told about still. Even though it's clear that the Reign are suffering a little bit without Daco being in the starting lineup, I like the idea of this punishment. I don't like the idea of starting someone who just continues to spread these negative vibes to his teammates, because then all of your players are going to have a negative mindset, and then everybody's going to be fighting amongst each other, and you don't want that. There's also the possibility that one of Daco's teammates just gets tired of his crap and they fight back, and that would be a disaster. You want to avoid that at all costs as well. If you're an Atlanta fan, I don't know if this is good news or not, but Daco is returning to the starting lineup. I know he's a pretty talented player and he has good synergy with Pokpo, but you really have to hope that he doesn't get tilted on stage again. I really don't know what the future holds for Daco in the Atlanta Reign, but at least we now know the story behind Daco's sudden disappearance. And that's basically everything I have to say about this Daco situation, so that pretty much wraps up today's video. If you did enjoy it, then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.